on. Give me a sec.
Oh,
What?
Windows server just crashed.
My Windows server just crashed. It's mailed my fear.
Max, everybody.
1 second.
Windows. No, the Windows server runs all of the Windows. Map. Oh, that. Just killed everything. With the one. With the fucking. No, it like doesn't display the things. Yeah, that it crashed. Yeah. Oh
Come
my
on,
god.
man.
It's starting everything up again. Alright. Alright, you good?
Yep, I'm good. Well, sorry for the hiccup, everybody. Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Alex. I'm an electrical engineer by education, software engineer by trade, and accidental photo app creator by, well, marital persuasion. So picture this. My wife and I are laying on bed, admiring our newborn, and then she dropped the ultimate engineer bait. Hey, we have too many baby photos now, and I don't want to pay for Google. Oh, we don't say that here. I don't want to pay for the app, which must not be named anymore. And you're always looking to build something for me, and you just have that shiny new server. So why don't you build that? Well, challenge accepted. I searched for solution that run on your own server with the slickness of the that forbidden app, but found most focus on being application for galleries than a true backup tools. So what I wanted was simple, quote unquote, a privacy-focused photo backup solution with a native mobile app that wouldn't require a computer science degrees to use. So I did what any hungry engineer would do. I set out to build my own solution, and it's called Immich. It's like that the other photo apps, except it's open source, respects your privacy, and doesn't require monthly subscription to the subscription gods. And fast forward 2 years, thousands of commits, hundreds of contributors, and one passionate core team later. That's when Lewis and Iran found us and invited us to join under FUTO wings. So now that we have all the support we need to give people a real choice beyond the big tech overlord who see your photo family just as another data mining opportunities. So Immich is our love letter to the open source community that given us so much over the year. What began as a solution to preserve my child precious moment without breaking the bank has evolved into something helping families worldwide to keep their memories secure, private, and actually accessible without a maze of upsell or hidden agenda. Because if there's one thing FUTO and Immich has both believe is that your baby first step shouldn't be training data for someone else's AI. So thank you for joining us here at the FUTO conference. Together, we're building a future where your memory and your privacy are truly yours. So for this talk today, I'm going to go over what Immich is and do some demos about the application, show up some of the features we have, and then Jason will talk about the tech stack and how we achieve those things. And come back to me, I'm going to talk about sustainability. How do we plan to make money and how are we making money with the application? And finally, Zach going to jump into to introduce some of the cool features we have on the roadmap. So let's do some live demo. Woohoo! Let me come back here. Change. Share the entire screen. Please excuse me, everything just started back up again. So, all right, so what I want to show you is how to run it on your computer or on your server. So Immich is a Docker-based application, which means everything is containerized. So you can run it on your MacBook, on your window, even though we don't really encourage you to run it on window, but it works. And of course, you can run it on your server so that it acts like an application where you can access anywhere. And yeah, so from the Immich website, go to get started, install, and then using this recommendation method. So first, you get the Immich app. So you get the Docker Compose file, and then you get the environmental variable, which means just the password of your database. You can just change the one line right here to be FUTO rocks. And then you run Docker Compose up. And hold on, Docker Compose is not starting, sorry. This always happens in live demo, right? It smells your fear, just like the printer know that you have exam in like. All right, so well, what I wanted to show here is how easy it is to get it running, even though it's not for your pops to run this on his own yet. But if you are a little bit techy and know how computer works, you can be the tech support of your family and to help your family get away from the solution that currently existed. So after you run that one command, everything is up and that's it. So it takes less than 5 minutes to get, I would say, a fairly sophisticated system running, and then you can use it. So from your web browser, you can go into this port right here. Oh, wrong port. And there we go. Welcome to Immich. The first thing you would create is the admin user. So we do test user at email.com, and then password, and then Alex string. So that's how you create a first user of your instance. You can choose a theme. I am on the weird side, so I like light theme here. And with we build everything with privacy in mind. So the only thing that reach out to the internet right now, well, the two things that reach out to the internet right now is the map system, which we are hosting the map tiling server, since it require a quite beefy machine and quite big storage. So we are hosting that for free for everyone that use Immich. They can access the map and see where their picture coming from. But we are not sending any data to those maps. It's just pulling the tile, and then the data got overlay is coming from your own information on your server. And the second thing that reach out to the internet is to GitHub, so that it notify you when there's an update for the application, and then you would be able to go in there, read the release note, and then run the update on your server. And then we have the storage template, which means that you can get the photo from your phone onto your computer under a folder structure that you understand. So you can put it under year, month, day, week, hour, etc. So we built this one to give people a opportunity and to reorganize their photos. If they have really unstructured photo coming from multiple sources, they can use this tool in order to put everything under one house. And that's it. That's how you run the application. Right now, I'm gonna jump back to another instance that I have already populated the data, so we can see a few things in action here. Remade and just Docker Compose up. Same thing. So that's how everything start up. Should be really ready now. Okay. So when you're first coming in Immich, what you are seeing is very, we try to give a familiar feel to those, the app which must not be named, because a lot of people are using those. And we think that by having a similar feeling, we reduce the complexity in using the application, so that when you jump in here, your wife, your grandmother, your mom, they wouldn't be asking, hey, how do I use this application? Because it's laid out in the very simple things that they are already used to. So you have a photo stream right here. We call it a timeline. What's important to us is you can view, you go down the memory lane literally. Is when you view, you using Immich, you literally going down the memory lane without waiting for it to load. And then you can also jump into any point of your timeline without waiting it to spin up all your cores and loading. And then you can drag and drop, and everything is just as snappy as that application. So you have all the basic features that you would find in a photo app. You have favorite, album, archive, trash. For the organization and the sharing, you can create a public link so that even though this is on your own instance, you can go into an album, create a link. You can put a password in there. You can modify some of these permission, and then you can share that link with the user, with an external user. They can go in there, they can upload things into this specific album, and they can view it. We try to make the UI very simple, but at the same time, we want to make Immich really powerful. So we split that part into a view that only available for the admin. When you're coming in here, there are many options that you can use to manage your instance. And we build it in a way that when you navigate these options, it doesn't overwhelm you, and it gives you, like, I like to read these things, so I'm gonna dive deep into it. It's not just a maze of information. So we put the UI and the user experience to be on top of our RMI in here. So the final cool thing of Immich I want to show you is the machine learning part. And everything is running locally on your machine. Even on Mac, on Windows, everything is never got sent to a different server somewhere. And you can do cool things, such as last April, I went to Europe, and I came across a restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant, and they use a paper towel as, so they use a toilet paper roll as paper towel that you can wipe your mouth with. So I remember that specific pictures in my head, and I want to find that photo. So in here, I would say toilet paper roll on a dining table, and then I find it right here. So we used clip, which transfer with encoding these image data into an array of numbers, and then when we describing a sentence or phrase, then it also converting that into another array of number, and then it used some magic math behind it to find the closest relation between these. And we can do some more fun thing, like I came to the zoo and then I see some animals stacking on each other, like some weird animal here. So it's like stacking animal in the zoo, and then I found these guys. So that we want to serve this to people with millions and millions of photos in your gallery, and you can only find it by vaguely describe what's in there. The next thing that I think people would like is how we do image classification. So you can go down the memory lane of looking at your daughter, your sister, just from one day were young until they grown up. So we have that in there as well, and everything running locally. So feel free to give it a try. And if you have any question, feel free to come to us. So now I'm gonna pass it back again to Jason. He will tell us how all this happened. Is it on the left? Okay. All right, Jason.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Jason Rasmussen, also a member of the Immich team. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the technology that powers Immich. We've talked a lot about open source today, and obviously we did not build all of this from scratch. That would be insane. But we definitely use a lot of existing stuff out there and make it possible to have a cool product like this. Some of the like programming languages and stuff that we use, the server is written in TypeScript and it runs on Node.js. And we use a framework called Nest, which just makes it easy to manage like building an API and dependency injection and stuff like that. The front end is written in Svelte, so it's still TypeScript. And we also have a mobile app, which I think is one of the things that sets our project apart from a lot of other kind of like self-hosted photo management apps. Is we have a mobile app written in Flutter, so Dart, that compiles to both Android and iOS. You can use that to send pictures from your phone to your server. And then we package everything for Docker like you saw. It's just like download the Docker Compose, it pulls the images, and it starts running. We have the machine learning stuff is all written in Python. I don't do machine learning, but I guess that's the way you do machine learning stuff. It's all these Python libraries that make the black magic happen, and everything just works. So that's kind of like the technology we use, and the database we use is Postgres, which is pretty cool because there's lots of extensions that you can use in Postgres. So we have a single database that does a lot of this stuff, but there's some extensions for like vectors specifically, which make it possible to do some of these AI things locally, which is pretty cool. I was going to talk a little bit about the like timeline component. This is something that's used on like most of the pages. Like in the beginning of Immich, we just had like a grid of pictures and it would load all of them at once, which worked fine until you had more than like 5,000 pictures in an album. And like very quickly, people had more than 5,000 pictures in an album. So we kind of took what we use on the main timeline and kind of made it possible to use like everywhere in the app. So it's pretty cool. And we have some people that like, I would say most users probably have like a few thousand to like maybe 30 or 50,000 pictures. Like that's a lot of pictures over a lot of years, but there's like some crazy people out there that have like millions of pictures. I think one guy's had like, I think the biggest thing we've heard has been like 3 million pictures, and like that's a lot more records in the database to scan through. There's a lot more things to load into the DOM and manage. But this timeline component works really well even for like a large scale. And so some of the things that we've done to make it fast and snappy is when you upload a picture, we do like this pipeline processing, and we generate thumbnails that are really small. That's what shows up here. And when you click on it, we load a different one that's like a higher resolution. So we can load those little thumbnails very quickly. And then we also have some of the database queries written in a way where you can just index into like a specific time period and get like a slice back of the pictures, so you can display them. And so and then lately, we've also been working on like some more DOM optimization. So we only are actually adding and removing elements to the DOM like as they are coming into view. So like you have the current view window and then you have a little bit above and below it. So like as you're scrolling, things are about to come into view and we'll start preloading those. So there's like a ton of stuff that we've done trying to optimize for this specific experience. So when you go to this page, you load it like very quickly, it gets the metadata it needs to know how to render the justified layout boxes, and then it starts working and it works great. And there's always things to improve, but for us, it's really important that this work well and that a normal user doesn't have to think too much about it. They can just do what they need to do and it works fine. We also have like a job queuing system. So when you upload an image to the server, it kicks off all these background jobs. So obviously we need to generate thumbnails. We extract like the EXIF tags from the image, which has like GPS data and like the camera make and model. And we put it into Postgres, which has indexes so you can search for it very quickly. There's also a bunch of jobs that run on the image that process like the machine learning stuff. So there's different embeddings that get generated for different purposes, for facial recognition, for searching, and a few other things. So there's these queues that run in the background, and we also have some support for like GPU hardware acceleration. So you can like use a GPU on your system to do some of these calculations faster. So that's pretty cool. So like performance is important to us, and we're always looking at ways to make things work better and faster. I also want to talk just a little bit about whenever we add something, it's important to us that it works like on the device. So like the machine learning stuff you saw, that's all running locally on like the MacBook. And there are some people that run this on like a Raspberry Pi and it works pretty well. And you know, other people can run it on like a big server at their house and that works great. So we tried to make it possible to like kind of pick and choose what you want to have. And like specifically for machine learning, there's different models that are available to use, and some of them require like more computational processing to generate the embeddings, and some of them are not quite as intensive. So you can kind of pick and choose like what your hardware supports. But yeah, one of the things that's a little bit more challenging is like the tile server, which is what's required to render the actual map. But even though we offer something and that's what we defaulted to, we give you the option, if you have a tile server that you want to run on your own, like there's a setting here you can go and you can point it at your own. So like it's important for us that you can take this and do with it what you like. And if you want to run stuff on your own, or you want to use some custom model that you have or whatever, like we give make it easy to swap stuff out and do that. And like the GitHub release checker, you can turn that off if you don't want to be pinging GitHub and get notified when there's releases. So we want to make it important that, you know, privacy is important and all these things are optional. You can turn them off if you don't want them. And yeah, with that, I'll turn it back over to Alex.
So I think as an open source that quite big on GitHub and with a lot of contributors. So how do we make money? And since we joined FUTO, the idea that you shouldn't be, if you are a programmer, a developer, and you are building a very good software that prove that there are you got giving values to people and people seeing that value, you shouldn't be ashamed or afraid of asking to be paid. So we use this opportunity to magnify that message, is to asking the user, hey, if you can and you have the means to pay for the application, you should pay for it, because there are actually engineers putting effort behind this and we value you. We want to give you the best experience ever. So, and we are also expecting our effort to be recognized. So that's how we deliver this message. It's as an experiment for all of us to see how people receive this message. And to our surprise, we have, I would say, we have made a really good return on the message, more than we anticipated. And we are asking, not like $3 donation, $5 donation. We put out $25 for a product key, like for one user. And if you have more than 4 users, we encourage you to get a server product key, which we price at $100. And to our surprise, there are many people that are willing to pay for software when they find value in it. And so that is something that we would try to do, and we would try to push it forward in the future. But we will never add any paywall, because we want to help as many people as we can all around the world. Like there are people that in other country that cannot make $100 or $25 payment. We don't want to prohibit any usage of the application by any means. So that is our goal of sustainability. And we also plan to add in more services that is not considered features of the application, but services that help non-techie people to preserve their data better. For example, we want to add in an encrypted backup service. So you already have your data in there, but you don't want to set up your own backup system on the cloud or somewhere else, and you're afraid that if your house burned down, God forbid, then you would lose all your precious moments. So we want to help you with that, with an encrypted system that you can send all of the data that you are using on your image instance to somewhere else, and then you can later retrieve it if needed. So those services like that are something that we are wanting to build. So that's part about sustainability. Now I'm going to pass to Zach to talk about some of the features that we have in mind for Immich.
All right. So yeah, I think it was mentioned earlier. You can already configure Immich to allow you to point at any tile server you like. But we want to go further than that. We want it to be like a one-click option for you to download the data you need into your self-hosted instance, and you'll be able to have tiles that will be way faster because they'll be local. Like, we can never make them that quick anyway. It'll just need like 120 gig of storage space, but we want it to all be automated so you don't have to do anything yourself. It'll obviously be like a one-time download from our S3 buckets. You can download it yourself, put it in a folder, or have us do it for you. But we want to offer that kind of service for basically anything we're able to. We want people to be able to self-host. So we don't want you to be tied to any cloud. And as we say, you can already do it, but it's kind of a lot of steps for a lot of people at the moment. So cool. I think I actually skipped one. I didn't realize Alex had already forwarded it. So yeah, so the next big one we want to do is stable release. So at the moment, one of the big things people complain about is that we have quite a lot of breaking changes as we're getting the app ready for a stable release. We don't want you to have to go and make all these changes to your Docker Compose or to your application. We try and limit it as much as possible. But in the process of getting the software to be as good as it can, there is only so much we can do to avoid that. So we're targeting having a stable release in the next 3 to 6 months. And then ideally we'll go to semantic versioning. You'll be able to auto-update your application, your mobile apps, everything, as long as you stay on the major versions. That's something we don't do right now, but it's something a lot of people have asked for. Another thing is locked photos. People want to be able to hide photos from the main timeline, maybe behind a code or something on their app, so that there's photos that people don't want other people to see. We're going to build that at some point soon. All of this is things we're promising to build, but no promise of when they're built. Okay, so smart albums. This is something that Google Photos already has, right? You can say, I want an album and I want to have these people in it, or these dates or locations. We want to have exactly that. So that's something we're going to build as well, and it's going to be powered by something called workflows, which will allow you to do way more than just that. This is a system that you'll be able to have community plugins for, automated actions. You'll just say, if these conditions apply, do these actions, all that stuff. So anything that we don't want to build in the core app, the idea is that you hopefully be able to do it with this. Someone could build a plugin themselves to do this. And then, again, another thing that is hard in the self-hosted space that is easier for these big cloud companies to do is having sharing between different users. So right now, if you have users on your instance, you can share between them. But if you have a friend who also has their own image instance, there's nothing you can do to easily share between each other. You probably have to duplicate the data and that kind of thing.
So we want to build a federated protocol of some kind to allow instances to share between each other. And like a pipe dream is also to go further and allow you to federate with like Google Photos shared albums. We'll see if that works out, but. And then this was mentioned by Alex. So we want to make it, Immich is already kind of, it's quite simple to set up for a lot of people. One of the things we find is a lot of people who have not self-hosted anything before get into self-hosting just for Immich, and they may not have the experience that they would ideally have when they're hosting such precious memories, like probably their most valuable data and things they would not want to lose. That's the first thing they're getting into hosting, because Immich is kind of one of the more approachable, or something they've really wanted to self-host. They want to get off Google Photos, whatever. So we want to make it easy for those people, and for people who do know how to but don't want to deal with it themselves, to upload their photos end-to-end encrypted to our backup solution. So if anything does happen, you can restore it, as Alex was mentioning. And then, yeah, one step further from that, we want to do a full cloud for people who don't want to set anything up, but they don't want to be working like using Google Photos or Apple Photos or anything like that. You can still obviously self-host everything, but there are a lot of people who do not have that expertise. Like, you're not going to probably go to your parents or something and say, look, I've got this great solution. You just need to get your own server. You need to learn how Docker Compose works. Well, you could follow Lewis's guide, and they'll have it all set up. So, but yeah, we want to offer this. It's probably not going to be price competitive with like Google Photos. Like, they have the benefit of having their own cloud providers and mining your data and everything like that. But we do want to build this cloud out, and hopefully people will want it because they don't want something that's going to be mining your data. And I'm going to hand back to Alex to close us out, and then we're going to take some questions.
Well, like, I think FUTO is one of the more used apps that we open on the phone, right? We take pictures every day. So we want to use this opportunity to help as many people as we can all around the world to not get their photos to be some data to be trained for AI. So thank you. And if you have any question, please just feel free to go ahead.
One, two. Thank you. With the way Immich is set up right now, is there a way that we can, when self-hosting, upload it to a URL type thing to make a family instance, kind of like the way Nextcloud can be put into a server online and be accessible by multiple users?
So that would fall into the user responsibility. So what you are asking is that, can Immich be exposed externally, right? Yes, Immich can be exposed externally, but the user, we need to set up their either VPN or a reverse proxy, and that is something that come with the self-hosting. If you choose to self-host something, it's a knowledge that you have to do to expose your services.
Thank you. On the airflow, or excuse me, on the workflow piece of the application, have you started planning what you're going to use for the technology? You're going to roll your own? You're going to use Apache Airflow? What technology do you have in mind for the workflow feature of the application?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, let me just change that one. This seems easier. Yeah, so for the workflow stuff, yeah, it's probably we're gonna be rolling our own. One of the big things that we want to maintain is we don't want people to be having to spin up a bunch of different containers. We already reduced the containers as low as we could go, pretty much. We may get rid of the Redis container at some point, but yeah, we don't want to be using external things like Apache Airflow and that kind of stuff where you have to run another container to deal with that. So we're gonna probably, it will be our own rolled workflow solution, and yeah, we'll just run with our current job system and be stored in the Postgres database.
And my second question is, do you plan on having a Helm chart so that this can be installed on a Kubernetes cluster?
We already have a Helm chart. So yeah, we have another repo which is maintained by one of our guys, which is for running it on kubes. So
Outstanding. Thanks a lot.
Howdy. Quick question. Does Immich support video as well? Or
Yep.
Does the semantic search work on the video?
It it does. Right now it's not as good as it could be.
Mhm.
So right now it just works based on the first thumbnail. So
Okay.
we have plans either to generate thumbnails all the way through and then generate the vectors for those,
Mhm.
or maybe there are models that can do semantic search on the entire video and store vectors for that. So yeah, the same things we do for images, but we're going to do that at some point.
That's cool. Thanks.
Have you guys thought about either in this product or like maybe an offshoot product at some point, pie in the sky, doing anything with music and maybe some sort of Plex competitor or anything like that, since in kind of the self-hosted space?
I don't think we thought about a Plex competitor necessarily. I think the main thing we'd probably be, like, if anything, we would be maybe doing like a Nextcloud thing in like 5 or 10 years.
Okay. And one other question about the model. How big is the vector for the for the output of the embedding model that you guys are using, or what embedding model are you using?
Well, I think for the facial recognition, we are using Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Yep. And for the semantic search, for clip, we are using from OpenAI, the clip model. And
Okay.
then the embedding, I believe, is in an array of 512 numbers.
Okay,
I think
Yep.
that was 512.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, the vector size is 512, and then there's also like the memory requirements to run it. So like most of the models are like 600 megabytes. So the machine learning container spins it up, and then you send requests to it, and it runs it and stuff. But yeah, obviously, if you have a lot of vectors in the database, like the size grows a little bit. But we're still talking like a few gigs for like millions of assets and stuff. So
Yeah. Also, we do support switching out the models. So there's a bunch of models on our Hugging Face instance, and some of them do have different, I believe, have different vector sizes that they use, and the system will automatically figure that out and switch it for you in the database.
Thank you.
We're gonna take this last question, and then we're gonna have our.
Let's do these two.
Okay, let's.
And then no more questions.
Yep, and then we're gonna have the breakout session.
So I wanted to ask exactly about the AI models. So if I have my own AI models and let's say an LLM with like a LangChain that's going through and sorting stuff that I have on my own end, what's the API look like for me to use my models with this software locally?
I think right now we are pulling from our Hugging Face repo, so it might be something that we have to build extra to allow to download the model from a different link.
Okay,
So yeah.
gotcha.
just maybe related to that, like we do have support in the server configuration. You can specify a URL that the request will be made to, so you can run machine learning on like another piece of hardware. And like theoretically, if you implemented the API, you can return kind of whatever information you wanted from whatever model you wanted. But like we send a request saying like, do a facial recognition task with this model, and this is the buffer of the image to run on. So like it's built to be extensible. Like I don't know exactly what you could do with what models, but like it's built for something like that.
This question is for like your mobile application that's built in Flutter. Does that stand as just like a front end for the server, or does it do inference on the phones also? Because you mentioned the models are kind of light, like 600 megabytes. Is that in the roadmap, or is that already implemented?
Everything is running on the server regarding to the machine learning. You know, like the phone, if you are running machine learning on it, it could get hot. But we have the server already, so why not sending everything over there and have it run on a more beefy machine, right?
Okay.
It's also like the mobile app itself is not just a front for the server though. Like all the machine learning stuff is done on the server, but we are currently like the app will work offline without the server. We are working to make it work even better offline, and we're currently revamping the syncing system entirely. But yeah, we have no plans to do like inference on the phone. A lot of our modules, yeah, just would not work. Yeah, the search may come to the phone eventually, but just for like the text side of it. So the
Except
clip,
data,
yeah, the clip model requires a model for text to the vector and also for the image to vector.
Mhm.
Text to vector has to happen at search time, so that part may come to the phone in the future,
I see.
but
Right.
we're not totally
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah, exciting project.
All right, thank you everyone. We're gonna be in the back room down here, so if you guys want to come hang out and chit chat and have more questions, feel free. So thank you very much.